Welcome back to Flight Sim with the Rude Man. We are in Chicago O'Hare, and we're getting ready to take off and head towards the East Coast again. And it looks like a pretty nice day today. The airport's kind of busy, I guess. But I'm ready to go. Let's go in and take a look at what we're doing today. First of all, I set a little bit of a flight plan because I didn't want to take a straight shot. Let me show you what we're doing. Here's a little nav map, and what we're doing is we're traveling from Chicago, which is where we're at. You see my little plane right there, that yellow one. And I'm going to Cleveland. It's about 280 miles. And I didn't really want to fly across because it looks, from the map, it doesn't look like it's very far across the tip of this Lake Michigan. But once you're out there, it'd be like we're over the ocean. And then we got the same thing here. From Chicago, I would be flying over two of the Great Lakes, Lake Erie and Lake Michigan. So I didn't want to do that. So what I did was I just planned a little route from Chicago down here to Porter County, and then across to Norwalk, and then up to Cleveland. So I'm going to add a couple miles on there, but it won't be too bad. And so there you have it. Let's get going here. Put my map away. Everything should be set up. Everything's running. I don't have any lights on, though. I should put the lights on. And then, yeah, let's go. I don't think I need to push back. We'll take the brakes off. I do need to find a runway, though. And hopefully, let's move out here a little bit closer to runways and see what we got that's going in the direction I need to go. Let me stop right here. I'm going to jump out for a minute and take a look around. This is a big airport. I think I'm on the other side of where I was. I think I landed the day before yesterday. It was way over there. So I'm on the different side here. I'm actually where I should have went in the first place at this station here. So let's take a look at the map and see what we got for runways. I could have selected one, but it doesn't matter with this little plane. Okay, we're going that way, and that one's going the wrong dang way for me. So let's see. Okay, there's one here. I think I'll take this one. And it's a big runway. I don't know if I have to go clear to the end. I doubt it, but it's 9 right, I think. So let's just take it. I hope the weather's doing good everywhere today. I don't know. I've had some pretty rough weather. Right, I'm gonna use a flap. That'll get me up a little quicker. Uh-oh, I am going the wrong way. I'm going with the wind, and I shouldn't be. We'll be fine. If I was in a commercial jet, I wouldn't be doing this. All right, put my flap up. Mosey around this way. mess with my speed. All right, there's the airport. Look how big that sucker is. Man. And I didn't set an altitude. Look at all the runways. You got runways going every direction. All right, I should have set an altitude, and I didn't. So we should probably do that. Hey, we'll be able to sightsee today. Wow, look at that tall buildings over there. That must be Chicago. Elmwood Park. Look at how big this city is. My goodness. Look at that. So that's Lake Michigan off there. Flying over those lakes is like flying over an ocean. They're just huge. It's unbelievable how big those lakes are. I just can't imagine living in a city this big. Yeah, I can't even imagine it. North Lawndale. Interesting name. Get off my yard. I'm that guy, by the way. The only difference is I don't do it out loud. I'm in my house looking out the window yelling, "Get off my yard." Nobody can hear me. I'm only yelling in my mind. I'm not rude, and I'm not mean. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or have people get mad at me and that kind of stuff. And usually, there's no sidewalk in front of my house. The other side of the street has sidewalks, but my side of the street does not. So you have tarmac, asphalt road, a bit of gravel between the road and my yard. And it's the same all the way down the street. So they were going to put sidewalks in, but they wanted us to pay for them. And so I signed a paper and said, sure, hell yeah, I'll pay for it. Now, it's not what you think. We didn't actually have to pay, grab your wallet and here's a few $1,000s. It wasn't that. It was that they would increase our taxes for a number of years to get it paid for. And I said, yeah, I'd like to have sidewalks. And I guess enough people on the block said no. That's interesting. Is that a runway out on the water? Huh. Okay, there's the river that runs through Chicago, and they dyed it green this year. I think there's been there's a stadium below us. I think there's been a couple years where they didn't dye the river green for St. Patty's Day. But they did again this year. I guess people are starting to get out and about and that kind of thing. Okay, so again, looking at the map, if I was to just look at the map right now, it doesn't look like we're over the lake, but we actually are. Interesting. Maps are weird if you're looking at them. I think probably if I zoom way in, it might show me a different picture. But this just shows me that had I have taken the initial route, I would have been way out in Lake Michigan, way out here. And it would have been like I was flying over an ocean. I mean, you can see it's kind of narrow right here at the tip of the lake, but Lake Michigan's pretty good size. Lake Erie is a little smaller. And that's the second lake we're going to have to deal with. But yeah, this is great. We can see it's almost like I don't have real weather on. There's no clouds today. Wow, beautiful. Unusual. I'm pretty sure I got weather turned on. Yeah, I'm on live weather. Very strange. So it doesn't hurt to fly across a little bit of water. But we can still see what life's like along the water in Chicago. I don't know what the hell that is down below us. It's a man-made strip of what? I don't know. To really get a good look, we'd probably have to fly all the way down the water. But it's kind of weird because if you remember in Oregon, the map shows, or the drawing, whatever you call it. I can't think of it right now, but the detail that they put in looks like I-5 is underwater when it's not. Water flows underneath it. It's like a bridge across there. So I don't know what that is down there. Now, if you plan a city well enough, and you had, and I'm just thinking out loud here, and you had a piece of land that came out like this, it would be like a good place for waste plants, some kind of maybe a power plant. If you had, like in the old days, if you were using coal or something that's smoked a little bit. You'd want that out of the middle of the city. I don't know what this is. I'm just talking because when I used to do SimCity and I got, SimCity went all to hell, and so we got cities, what the hell was that other one? Oh, hell, I can't remember now. Cityscapes or something like that. There was another one that took over for SimCity, and I started buying that, and it's been a long time since I played it. But basically, you're building a city, and you want to make a good plan. If you don't, you're going to find out real soon the city's not going to work right. If you're going to not have taxes, all kinds of stuff. That's Gary Chicago International. I wonder if that's Gary, Indiana. There is a Gary, but this is not Indiana. This is Illinois, so that wouldn't work. Hobart Sky Ranch. You can't get away from those farmers with airplanes, man. Hobart Ranch. So, anyway, Cityscapes, I think, was the name of that game. I still have it somewhere. I don't have the latest version of it. It's a lot of fun to... I'll tell you what it is. It's a bigger time waster than this. Now, when you talk about wasting time, you're not wasting time. You're getting entertainment and that kind of thing, recreation. But when they say it's a great time waster, it means that it's something that you get into, and the next thing you know, you've been sitting there at your computer for 5 hours, and you think, "Oh my God, I just sat down." But look, hell, I got a couple city blocks built. But if you don't have some kind of a plan, you find out real soon you're going to be in trouble. I mean, you've got to have a place where you're going to have maybe some skyscrapers, some place where you want, where do the hospitals go? How big are you going to get? Because once you start building, you don't know. You might get big, and then if you don't plan it right, the city's not going to work. So that's what I think about when I think about seeing something like this. Got a big clover leaf down there. I wonder what that is on two sides of the freeway there. It's a big parking ride. Man, I'd get lost. Trying to decide which turn to take. Yeah, that Hobart Sky Ranch, it looks like, from up here, it looks like a dirt runway. Gotta be a farm. Maybe. I don't know. Portage Township. Portage. There's Portage and Portage Township. What is Portage? It's, I don't know. It's like transit. A portage. You're porting something from one place to another. I think would be what that word would mean originally. Unless they meant porridge and they don't know how to spell it. I want my porridge hot. Porter County Regional, South Haven. These are all little suburbs, I'm guessing. Little places for people that don't want to live in the city. Although, if you look at this little place right here, that's bigger than the city I live in altogether. Salt Creek Commons. When I'm pointing things out like Salt Creek Commons, my mind is racing. You know, how did they come up with a name like that? There's, For example, Lewis and Clark, when they made their expedition to the West Coast, and they spent their winters in Astoria area once they got to the ocean here on the mouth of the Columbia. And they had to survive. So what do you need to survive? Well, you need food, you need housing of some kind, you need water. Well, we've got the river for water. There's plenty of land and lumber to build houses and buildings. What about things like salt? You just don't find salt laying on the ground. Well, I guess you do, actually. There's a place in Seaside, which is about 5-7 miles down the road from me, and it's a resort town. It's right on the ocean, and there is a salt lick there. I can't remember what they called it, but there's a place there where they would come and get their salt, like a salt mine, that kind of thing. Now, you'd think that, sounds reasonable. It's right on the ocean. What's in the ocean? Lots of salt water. So it's called a salt works. I'm thinking that maybe they used ocean water and brought it in and made salt. I don't know. I really don't. I should study that. I could look it up right now, but we're not touring Oregon. Okay, we're getting out of civilization and moving back out into farm country. Washington, is that the state? That's another one of those names. Wyckoff Airstrip. Why not? Cough Airstrip. Washington is another one. Like, how many towns have a town called Lincoln or Washington, or even Jefferson for that matter, Franklin? All right, here's our turn. Okay, so this is the point where I said, okay, I'm down far enough, let's get going east. So I didn't fly over the Great Lake there. And again, on the map, it looks like I'm right on the lake when I picked that spot. I didn't zoom in on the map real close. So we're going to go, we're actually going kind of southeast, just a hair. We're traveling south just a little bit. We're not flying directly east on the compass. We're a few degrees south. And then when we get to Norwalk, we're going to make another little left and go north a little bit to Cleavland, Ohio. So we're traveling into Ohio pretty quick. I don't have any maps up today. Let me take a look, see what I got available. Pull up Northeast USA, see what I get. If I pull a state up, I get the state, but I can't see the surrounding states. So it's kind of confusing a little bit. Again, the United States is so damn big that I actually have to look at a map to figure out what is north of Arkansas. Which state is north of Arkansas? I don't remember, and so I have to kind of look at a map to see. There's a spot they call Texarkana because it's Texas, Arkansas, and oh god, now I've just lost it. Kansas, I think. Texarkana. there's a spot where, you're right on the border of 3 or 4 different states. So let's see if I can find, okay, that's not going to do me any good. That doesn't give me enough of here's one that gives me a map around well, that didn't work. It only gives me a couple of states. Pretty much what I put in Northeast, it just gives me New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Maine, that's it, Vermont. So that's not what I wanted. I'm going to pull up a map of the U.S. and just zoom in on the Northeast. That'll give me all the states. There we go. Something like this. Let's take a look. Pull up the full map and then zoom in. Minnesota. We've been to Minnesota. Just recently, matter of fact. So I'm guessing that we are in Indiana because Chicago, remember when I said Gary, Indiana on that airport? And I said, well, it can't be Gary, Indiana, because we're in Illinois. At that time, we were actually in Indiana. Chicago's right on the border of Indiana. I did not realize that. So from Illinois, we're going southeast into Indiana, which is where we're at right now. And then from there, we'll hit Ohio. And that's where Cleveland's going to be. And then, depending on the time, if I'm around 2 hours, I'll call it a day in Cleveland. If I'm not, I might fly into Erie, Pennsylvania, maybe. And then from Pennsylvania, we're going to be going into New York. And so we probably got, after today, maybe one leg to get to New York, if I decide to go all the way to New York. Because if I go all the way to New York, then to go to Florida, if you look at the map, the East Coast doesn't go north to south. It goes northeast to southwest. It's quite a slant. So that means if I go all the way to New York, here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It'll be easier. So here, we're going to be standing at Cleveland right here. If I go all the way to New York, and, like JFK or LaGuardia, I've got to come back west to get to Florida. So I might just go from Cleveland, maybe in here to Harrisburg, or because I've already flown up here. I've done a couple flights out of Vermont into Canada, and I've done a couple flights. Now these were commercial flights, and I did one in JFK and one in LaGuardia, something like that. So I might just come into Pennsylvania on the next leg from Cleveland, and then start down into Florida instead of going all the way to New York. That way, it's going to take me from Cleveland at least a leg. Because right now we're going from Chicago to Cleveland, and that's 270 miles. That's a couple hour trip right there. Maybe. We'll see. All right, what are we missing here? Drake Field. We're missing Drake Field. And Little Lake out there. Coons Lake. May Strip. Walkerton, Texas Ranger. Stewart's Green Acres. Stewart's Green Acres. Oh, my goodness. Oh, is that? I thought that was Shrek Field. It's Shirk Field. Look at the thick forest below us there. Look at how thick that is. You can always tell a thick forest is always really dark green. Maybe. I don't know. Seems like it is. It's interesting to see the different kinds of farming. Like if you look down below, it looks kind of dry, doesn't it? The dirt looks awful dry. Whereas some of the farming that you see, like the circle farming that we saw in Washington State, was greener because they're actually irrigating the land. In Montana, it looks dry because they don't have that. They farm with whatever rain they might get. They don't get a lot of rain. Look how flat this land is. We can just sit here at 6,000 feet and just enjoy the ride. Okay, we're actually at 6,300. I just hit the barometer, so we're a little bit higher than we thought we were. So that'll bring us back down to 6,000. That's just north. That's all it is. Just north. Look at that big freeway coming through La Paz. That's a big freeway. Where in the hell is it going? It's going from North Ohio down south. Creighton. That is a complicated way of spelling Creighton. A lot of letters in there, a lot of vowels. Hackbarth. Yeah, look at the land. Are we looking at clouds? No, there's no clouds. What is the darkness in the ground there? Like it's been burned or something. German. That's something else that's kind of interesting in towns as they grow. As everybody well knows, Americans are a melting pot. And back in the day, we had a lot of different people come into the United States. The Germans and the Irish, people from China, and in a lot of places in America, there's a Chinatown, or there's a spot where the Irish settled, and they had their own little area within a city. I've lived in several towns that have had a German town, and people would come and they would assimilate into America because it was required to become a citizen. You had to assimilate. You had to speak English. You had to learn a little bit about America's history, and you had to assimilate. You had to become an American. That didn't mean that you had to give up your culture. And so they didn't. They would create an area town, and they would all kind of congregate. If you still spoke German, you'd have a place where there were other German-speaking people, and sometimes they were related, sometimes they weren't. But that happened. I was thinking about that when I saw that name German back there. In the little bitty town I was in Washington, they had a German town. And here where I live, there's a lot of Finnish people. And they still fly the Finnish flag. As a matter of fact, a little town that I worked in, it took me about a year to convince a lot of people to not take the Finnish flag down. I didn't, have anything. I didn't have a problem with anything they did flying a flag. It's just that they would put the Finnish flag over the United States flag. And I spent a lot of time just friendly talking to convince them, to just reverse that. And I didn't even care if the Finnish flag was larger than the U.S. flag, but the U.S. flag should have been first, at the top. So, and they all did eventually. Yeah, it's difficult to do stuff like that. I didn't do it demanding. I didn't try to, upset anybody. I would do it in conversations, gradually and subtly. How long you been in the United States? And they would tell me, do you have relatives, or do you still have a lot of relatives back in homeland? And just conversation. And every once in a while, I'd kind of, put in the thing about flag etiquette. You're not supposed to fly a U.S. flag that isn't lit at night. So at night you have to take the flag down unless you've got a light on it. If you take a flag down, you don't take it down quickly, you bring it down slowly. If when you take a flag down, it doesn't touch the ground. If the flag gets torn or tattered in the wind, or it's just been an old flag and is getting wore out, you take it down and you take it to, you burn it, is what you do. But the thing is, there's a little ceremony. And so what I used to do is I would take it down to the veterans, if there was a veterans or some kind of an organization. There was always an organization in town that would come and pick up the old flags and do a ceremony and burn them. And I made use of them. Tippecanoe. There's Tippecanoe. Is Tyler there too? Something you learn in school. Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Can't remember why. I remember learning it, memorizing that. All right, we're coming. There's a bunch of lakes out here. Look at all the waterlands there are. I just noticed that. Goshen, Zollinger. Yeah, it's up ahead. All these little lakes. That must be a school down there. There's a baseball field and a football field right next to each other. Must be a school. And that, what is that? Tennis courts, maybe? Hard to tell. It's either, I would say it was a school, because if it's a motel or a hotel, why would they have a football and a baseball field? They probably wouldn't, but a school would. Lake Wawasee. And there's the town of Wawasee. The lake is bigger. Turkey Creek. That doesn't look like a creek. That looks like a lake. But it's got a building on the icon, which means it's probably a little town. And the marker's just off a little bit. Look at that. Those are all boats. Look at all the little docks. Holy smokes. They go clear around. Look at that. Those are all boat docks. Wow. The lake doesn't look that big. You put that many boats out there. Collision course, man. Interesting. There's a little landing strip down below. Cromwell. That sounds very British. It's one of those days. I had a cup of tea early this morning. It's mid-afternoon right now, and sometimes in the afternoon I get where I want something to drink, and I don't want to drink too much soda, and so I'll have a cup of tea. Just a small cup. Today I just don't feel like it. Just don't feel like a cup of tea today. I mean, I already had it this morning, but I wasn't too sure about the route today because it didn't look on the map very far, and so I was trying to pick out a further location until I saw the mileage pop up, and it was 273, and that was before I put the two little legs in to keep me off of the lake. That added another 20 or 30 miles, so I'm not entirely sure what time frame we're looking at for today's trip. Kay Field. I used to know a girl named Kay Field. Stangland and York Township. I wonder what the deal is with some of these places where you would see a township and then a few miles away you would see just the town. So it would be Yorktown, and then there would be York Township. I wonder what the I don't know. I wonder what the difference is. What would be considered, why would they separate it out and call one township and one town? I might have to look that up. Curiosity. Look at all the waterways over there. What appears to be waterways. There's another lake over here. Millerfield. Albion. Albion. Bit of turbulence every once in a while, I'll notice. I was actually kind of surprised I got in the air so easy flying with the wind. You really shouldn't do that. I was just too lazy to go down and turn around. If it, like I said, if it would have been a commercial flight, I wouldn't have done that. I would have went down to the other end. Yeah, see, I'm hitting a little turbulence every once in a while. Well, actually, a little turbulence is hitting me. So we have a little bit more civilization. Look at all the houses that are on the lake. A lot of houses right on the lake. We have a little bit more civilization in the east part of the country. And it's not surprising in that when America was formed, it was formed on the East Coast. And we just kind of started migrating west. And so people would start migrating until they were just sick and tired of traveling, and they would plop down roots. And then more people would come behind them and plop down roots. And then they would get to a place to say, too many people here, keep going. And they would find a place that there weren't a lot of people, and they plopped down. And then it would happen again. More people would come until somebody at one point said, oh, too many people here, keep going. And so it's thicker from the East Coast as you go west. Then you get to where there's very little people at all until you get to the West Coast. And you can see that. I mean, if you're looking, we have a lot of land here, but if you look, there's houses everywhere. If you look, you can see houses everywhere. There's life down there. There's civilization down there, and little townships like this, little housing areas like that. And if you remember, back west, we didn't have that. We flew for miles and miles and miles, and there wasn't a house in sight. And it's that way all the way to the West Coast. It'd be interesting to find out what we're going to find when we go. I'm sure when we get to the New York area and we start heading south to Florida, we're going to have a lot of population. I'm curious to find out what we're going to see when we head from Florida across the southern states to Texas. And then, of course, California. That's another story. A lot of people moving out of California, but at one point, California had as much population as the whole country of Canada. California can have more population. It's mostly desert. In the north, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana to some extent, Wyoming, a lot of mountains. You can't populate mountains that easy. You can fill up a lot of flat land, but you can't fill up mountain land. It just doesn't work. Richland, how many Richlands are there in the country? Altona, Garrett, what's that one in the middle? Kaiser, Walker Row, Waterloo, Cortina. Wonder where we're at now. Mooneyfield. I think we're still in Ohio, but I'm not sure. Let's see if I can find out. Did I say Ohio? We were in Indiana, but I think we might be out of Indiana now and into Ohio. I made a mistake. Let's see. No, actually, we might still be in Indiana. We're getting close, though. Trying to look for my little plane here. Okay, let me see. Let me see. All right, it looks like the border between Indiana and Ohio is... I'm looking at landscape to try to determine where the border is without having to pull up that kind of map. And it looks like we're still in Indiana, and we'll be coming out of Indiana within the next few miles. Gruder Field. I feel Gruder. I feel Gruder. Harold. I used to know a guy named Harold. I love to see farmland. A lot of forest in that farmland, though. Look at, you still see a lot of forest down there. Little patches of it. Field. Stafford and Keener Field. We may be coming into Ohio. I had a friend of mine who lived in Ohio. I think he came from Cleveland, if I remember right. Moved to the West Coast, and I met him at college. I haven't seen him in years. We still have contact with him every once in a while, but we haven't actually got together for a while. They were school teachers, and they'd been school teachers for quite some time. And they were getting close to retirement, and before they retired, they wanted to do some traveling. So they put in for teaching in other countries. And the last time I heard, they're retired now, but the last place I heard that they were teaching was in China. More power to them. I couldn't do it. I'd want to be home. And when I say home, I don't necessarily mean America. I mean the Northwest. That's home. You could move me into Chicago and New York, but it wouldn't be a home. and I wouldn't like it. Well, I need to put a caveat on that. I wouldn't like it if it was the city of New York or the city, any big city like that. I wouldn't like. Now, if you put me someplace in the Carolinas where it's country, and even someplace out here, I wouldn't have a problem. But you put me anywhere close to a city, and I'd be squawking like nobody's business. Hey, there's Farmer. There's a little town called Farmer. Are you kidding? Of a suburb of Simulator. I don't know what that is below us. Big farm, maybe? Yeah, big farm. I don't know. Hard to tell. Some kind of business. Nay. Oh, is that Nay? No, it's Neve. Neve. Williams County, there's a Defiance Memorial. We're going to put a memorial here, and you can't say anything about it. We're defiant. Rogers Point, Arend. What a beautiful day for a tour flight. I hope that there's people watching this. I know there's not a lot, but that are enjoying as much as I am seeing what America looks like. So many people in other countries have no idea how big America really is. So, there's people that say, why do you have such lousy cell phone service in America? Well, again, I've mentioned this before, but if you look, this area is kind of populated, but how many cell towers do you think there'd have to be to have everybody get good cell service? And who's going to pay for it if nobody lives in that area? If you see what I mean. Then if you go to the west side of the country, and it's all mountain range, even if you put a tower up, it can't go through a mountain. So you have to try to find someplace high enough, and hopefully it's high enough with population, or you won't get cell phone service. It'd just take a tremendous amount. There's only one way to do it, and that would be maybe put 1 million satellites up that provide cell phone coverage, get it from a satellite. And I guess that's Elon Musk is working on something like that. I don't know. Every time I heard about it, all I could think of was Arnold Schwarzenegger movies where that sky bridge or whatever it was that they put up, and the robots took over. The Terminator. We're definitely in Ohio now. Adams. What a lazy Sunday afternoon, I tell you. I wonder what the weather is outside today. I haven't actually looked. Overcast. Gray as all get out. No blue sky anywhere. Same as yesterday. I think we're supposed to have this kind of weather for at least the next week or two. I'm going on holiday on next Saturday. Today is Sunday. March what? 19th? Something like that. Is it the 19th today? Yeah, today's the 19th. All right, what's that little place on the city there? Florida? Hey, we're in Florida already. How did we get there? Nice river you got there, Florida. I wonder if this Florida was here before the other Florida. Napoleon Township. Somebody took over. They were conquered. Napoleon come riding through and threw his flag down. You are now Napoleon. I'm just kind of zoning out up here. About half asleep. No weather to contend with. A little gust every once in a while, but not too bad. Beautiful, beautiful weather. I bet it's cold though. I bet it's still cold. But it's just sunny. No rain, no snow. What, you know, a lot of the weather that Chicago gets, I bet, comes off that lake. Because Chicago's always windy, and I get there a fair share of snow, I think. Monroe Township. See, there's another township. Harrison, Henry Company. Mylanta, Malinta, I don't know how you pronounce that little place. Mylanta, isn't that like Pepto-Bismol or something? Malinta. I once knew a girl named Malinta. Not. I didn't. I lied. Farm down below. Lots of farms. And again, some of that dark ground. I wonder what that is. It clay? What is that? Is it just super rich land? Richfield. Yeah, I tell you, this flight, it looked pretty short on the map. I think it's longer than I thought it was. Although we've only been in the air a little over an hour. Deschler Municipal. Okay, that looks like some land that has not been harvested yet. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it looks like they're harvesting on this one over here. Why would they start in the middle? I guess it depends on how it ripens, I suppose. Unless they're like me, I just take mine out of the middle all the time. Addie came in yesterday, spent her whole day in my studio, straightening up, cleaning up. I have a closet where everything goes that I don't know what to do with, and you can't even get in the dang thing. And so she was in there going through stuff, cleaning it up for me, and bless her heart, she's 14. She'll be 15 in September, but she worked her little tail off yesterday, and she'd worked for Carol 2-3 days ago doing stuff, and Carol gave her $10. So she got finished in my studio. I said, give me that $10 you earned. Why? I said, I want it. Well, it's mine. I earned it. And I said, I know. Go get it. I want to see it. So she went and got it. I said, let me see. She handed it to me, thinking I was going to steal it from her. But she's obedient, so she handed it to me, gave me a dirty look. And so I pulled a 20 out, and I said, I'll trade you. And I gave her the 20. So we're going on holiday, I told you, for a week. And so at the condo, they've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 different swimming pools. But they've got a sports center, and each of the swimming pool areas have a little bit of a snack bar kind of a thing. And the kids always want ice cream or a candy or a soda. And they're always begging for money. So I told them there probably won't be a whole lot of that this year, just because your kids are getting too old to be, ripping me off like that. So both of them have been working. She's going to come back. I told her this week, I said, you still got time to make another $10 or so. Man, you'll be rich when you get over there. You can buy all the snacks you want. Oh, she was all excited. She's going to go there. The first time she's going to go over there with money. Because she always has to beg, oh, can I have an ice cream? No. Now she's old enough she can walk down to the sports center by herself. Get herself some snacks. Now, she probably won't. We don't let them run like that. Not like we did when I was a kid. Our folks never knew where we were. We'd leave in the morning, like in the summertime, and we wouldn't come home till dinner time. They had no idea where we were. We were all over town. We were wherever we wanted to go. Hey, there I am, Rudolph. A little town called Rudolph. Amazing. So I have my own town here. Anyway, so she's pretty excited that she's got earned that money, and I tried to tell her. We're trying to get her to work. I said, Jake has been working. He likes to work outside, though, which is good for me because I hate working outside. Anyway, I said, why don't you just get and do it? Don't complain about it. I said, you know, if you start a project and, like, let's say we're going to clean the bathroom, when you're done, you will find that you have a good feeling about what you did today because you've accomplished something. And every time you go into the bathroom and it's sparkling clean, hey, I did that. Well, at least till tomorrow when it needs cleaning again, but that's neither here nor there. And she didn't buy that at all. She did not buy that one little bit. So when she was done yesterday, she said, I think we're about done. And I said, yeah, I think you are. And that's when I told her to go get her $10 bill. And when she came back and we settled up, she plopped in my recliner in here and gave out a big sigh. And I said, look around. What do you think? And she goes, it looks good, don't it? And I said, it sure does. I said, how do you feel? And she said, I'm tired, but I said, no, how do you feel about how it looks? I feel pretty good. I did it, you know. I said, see? That's what I was trying to tell you yesterday, but you wouldn't buy any of it. Hey, there's the first circular field I've seen in a while. All right, so what do we got after Ohio? Let's see. I don't think we'll be heading anywhere today. Yep. Yeah, we're in Ohio. We'll end up in Ohio today, and then next we get into Pennsylvania. And I really seriously think I'm going to stop in Pennsylvania and start coming south. I've already kind of covered these. I don't want to go all the way up into Maine and then turn around and come all the way back again because it just seems, you know, I don't know. I don't want to go up and right back down again. And that's what I'd have to do. I'd have to go up into Albany and Augusta, Maine, and turn around, come back, and fly over the same place I just was there yesterday. So I think I'm going to come kind of southeast. At Cleavland, we'll be right in the corner of Ohio. And so if I start coming southeast through Pennsylvania to maybe Harrisburg, and then come down into Baltimore, D.C., Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, a little bit of Georgia, and into Florida. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's going to skip New York, Massachusetts, Maine. But that's okay. I think that's the thing to do. There's Scott just ahead of us. I'm surprised how much I've enjoyed this tour. Just again, it's my country. I've never seen 99% of it. And you say, well, this is a game. It is, but this is like Google Maps, so this is what it really looks like. People say, what do you mean it's like Google Maps? Well, it's not Google Maps. It's Bing Maps. And as much as I don't like Google, their maps are better. I wonder what that complex is down there. It looks like a prison. It's probably a high school, same thing. Prison, high school. Giltner. Fremont. Anyway, yeah, so I really feel like if I was to drive through here, it would, I don't know, it would be the same in real life. Maybe not every little inch, but for the most part, it's like this, I think. So it's kind of fun to fly over here and see what the rest of the country looks like. How's it populated? And again, we've already went through that. It's populated a lot more here. Look at all the houses that you see, the little farms and stuff where, and little towns and stuff, where in the West, we flew miles and miles with nothing. I even kept calling it the no man's land. You know what that patch of nothing is over there? Big patch of nothing over there. When I see stuff like that, a big patch of nothing, you've heard me say, I wonder if that's like a quarry or if that's like a gravel pit or whatever you want to call it. It makes me wonder, is that over there, is that man-made? That piece. And then we were talking about Idaho, where I told you there were parts of Idaho that I've been to that are just ugly because of mining. Definitely man-made ugliness. Now, was there anything there to begin with? Doesn't matter. Whatever it was probably more beautiful than what they left with the mining. And I'm not against mining. You know, it's just the way it looks when they're done. Old fort. Where's the new fort? I'm gonna go to the new one. Is that Welker? Like Welker Farms? No, that's in Montana. South Creek. Again, I've said it over and over and over, but it's still something I think about. Look at all the farmland. So much farmland. That's a good sized place over there. I don't know what city that is. Ballville, but I don't think that whole thing is Ballville, is it? There's an airstrip. Looks like just one great big Sandusky. Looks like one big runway. Green Springs. Annie Green Springs. Wasn't there a wine? Was it Boone Farms? I can't remember. I remember there's some kind of wine that was called like Annie Green Springs or something like that. They had wine like Plum Hollow. A lot of fruit wines, and I can't remember the name of the company. There was a couple of them actually. think one was called Boone Farm Wines or something like that. And then there was the two old farts that advertised the wine. I can't remember. Bartles and James, that's what it was. A couple of old farts, Bartles and James. They sold wine. Okay, so are we looking at a little bit of Lake Erie out there? Is that what that is? Pretty sure. If so, we're looking at this area right in here, because there's Cleavland. That's our destination. We're not there yet. So I think we're seeing a little bit of Lake Erie here. And I didn't realize for the longest time. I can't remember when I discovered that Canada actually came way down into America like this. Can't remember. It's been a while. I could just hear people down here yelling, "Get off my yard!" to all the Canadians. There's York. Misler Bellevue, that sounds like a hospital. Doherty. So that's a town right there. Not a small one, not a real big one. That would be a city. I don't know what city. Bellevue. It's Bellevue. Bellevue, Ohio. So we're getting closer to Norwalk. I think Norwalk's going to be up in here, and then we're going to take a left a little bit and head north just a little into Cleveland. That's a good-sized little city. Oh, there's a big wind turbine down there. Just one, all by its lonely down there. I think you can see it. Right on the water. That's odd that there would just be one. Must be an experiment. And what is that? What is this right here? Is that a train depot? Why do they need all the little runway thingies? That might be kind of fun to fly over and take a look at down low, because I can't tell what it is. It looks like a big train yard, doesn't it? Just not a lot of detail. See, that's what I'm talking about right here. If you look at this, there's not a lot of detail there. On Google Maps, you'd be able to see the tracks. So yeah, I think that's a big railway. A railway depot. On Bing Maps, you get to see a general idea of what it looks like until you get up close to see detail. On Google Maps, you see a lot more detail. But then again, I don't know if a computer would run it. Ridgefield. Zorn Acres. Zorn, wasn't the guy's name Zorn Fifth Element? The bad guy? Zorn Industries? Or was that James Bond? There was a James Bond too that had something like that. That Christopher Walken. I think he was Zorn. I think it was James Bond I'm thinking of. Zorn Industries. And they always want to destroy the world or take over something. Although the one James Bond, Quantum of Solace or whatever it was, everybody said, well, what the hell does that mean? What does it mean? And then I watched a show the other day, they were talking about James Bond movies, and they said, yeah, that one was terrible. They just kept getting worse and worse. I mean, what is the Quantum of Solace? And then they said, who was the bad guy? I don't even remember. And then somebody said, not only can I not remember who the bad guy was, I don't remember what his thing was. They're always trying to take over the world. What was this guy doing? And somebody said, I think it was oil. And of course, I'm just watching. And I'm yelling at the screen, if it was dumber than oil. They were taking over water. Oh, God. Now, not to make light of that, because if you lived in a desert, wouldn't the most valuable thing that you could get would be water? So I'm not dissing the fact that water is not valuable. It is. It just seems silly. It's kind of like drinking water. When you go to the grocery store and you buy bottled water and you pay like so much a gallon of water, do you realize that in a normal time period, not today, because of recession and inflation and all that kind of stuff, right now a dollar doesn't go very far, and the price of gas is way too high. But in normal times, when the price of gas is reasonable, you pay more for a gallon of water. And people don't complain about it, but they complain about a gallon of gas. Look what it takes to get a gallon of gas. You got to go find it. You got to get all the permits. You got to build all the refineries and the pumps and stuff to get it out. You have to refine it, as I say. You have to distribute it. All of that. What do you have to do for water? Just get water and run it through a filter and sell it in a bottle and say that it's pure. And you get, if gas was $2 a gallon, and then you add up the water you just drank was $3 a gallon, you pay $2 for a bottle. Some people do. I wouldn't. Okay, so we made our left, and we're on a direct path to Cleveland, and it's not that far away, so we're getting closer. I don't think Cleveland's going to sneak up on me like Chicago did last night. Or, well, it was the night before last. But I meant to fly last night, but again, family things didn't allow me to. I told you Addie was in here working, so the rest of her pay was being able to play The Sims on one of my computers instead of the old thing she's got. She can barely play The Sims on her laptop, and so she just has a ball when she's able to play it on my PC, one of my PCs. I don't play it anymore. I just buy it. I just pay for it. I can't tell you. I told her the other day, I would be afraid to sit down. That one game, The Sims, it would scare me to sit down and add up all the money I've spent on that game. I'm talking about The Sims, the original Sims, Sims Online, Sims 2, Sims 3, now Sims 4. You buy the game, let's say it's $50, $60 game, and then every little expansion or pack you buy for it is at least $20 to $30, and there's hundreds of them. I've spent thousands. I told her, I said, I've probably spent enough money on the Sims game over the years to buy a car. Crazy. crazy. I guess if they can get it, good on them, I guess. But I stopped. She's always coming in, wanting me to buy this or that, Oh, they've come out with babies. I got to have the pack for babies. Oh, great. Oh, now there's a pack for baby diapers. Oh, great. How much is that? Oh, there's now a pack that lets your baby poo in the diaper. How much is that? Oh, we got a packet for baby dogs and cats so that your baby can have a baby dog and cat. How much is that? Now, I'm exaggerating, but it's not far from that. That's basically what they do. They keep adding more stuff, and it's always $15, $20, $30. And it just bogs the hell out of your computer. Lorain County, if I'm reading that correctly. What's that one over there? Germar Air Park. What the hell's an air park? I looked that up, remember? Well, it was aerodrome. No. Aerodrome. What was an aerodrome? We don't use that term in the United States. Although I did find some. New Russia. Where's old Russia? Oberlin. Typical YouTube, I saw a thumbnail yesterday that somebody put out an arrest warrant for Putin. I hate YouTube sometimes. When you're looking for something interesting to watch and you really can't find it because everything looks interesting until you click on it. You click on these things. Some movie star. Rest in peace. Oh my God, they died? What happened? And you look it up, and it's not anything about that. They haven't died. It's like maybe they said something on Twitter that was controversial, and so they're going to get buried for it. So rest in peace. It's just, you can't. It's just frustrating. Well, how far are we? It's hard to tell. I'm going to have to zoom my map in. Not that map. This map over here. All right, we're a little ways away. We're getting close, though. We're actually pretty darn close to a glide path. So let me take control and come in. And I'm coming up on a. If I come over this way a little bit. I'm going to catch the tail end of a couple of glide paths. That works pretty good because it at least lets me know which direction the runway is compared to, my plane. So that I'm not at the last minute diving to the left to get on the runway. I think that's our airport right over there. I think. If the glide path is right in front of me, it's got to be. So, let me start coming down. Whoa. I guess there's more turbulence closer to the ground. I'm getting knocked around like nobody's business up here. All right, so I'm entering a glide path. Let me straighten into it here. And there's our airport right there. Cleveland Hopkins International. Pretty good size. We got 4 or 5 runways there. That doesn't include any that go across the airport. All right, we're going to fight the wind down, looks like. Got to reduce the speed. I'm way too fast. I can't wait. Get my new computer. I haven't even ordered it yet. I'm not going to build one this time. But dang it, I'm getting knocked around like crazy up here. Ha ha ha. All right, come over a little bit. I'm not lined up good enough. I dropped the flat, man. You could see the nose come up like something smacked me in the head. Yeah, I'm getting battered around a little bit. Not terribly, but a little bit. Okay. Come over a little. It doesn't like that I cut the throttle too much. See? All right. Come on down. Come on down. I got lots of runway. Okay, I'm going to go to the right, I think. It looks like there's more airport over there. Put my flap back up. Slow it down a little bit. And hey, what a beautiful day for a flight. They're finally seeing some clouds in the distance there. That wind hit me. Hey, good news on that one. We were coming in against the wind because it's pushing me to the right quite hard. I guess I could maybe move into the center lane here. Looked like the big boys are on the left. I'm wondering if there's space for me over on the right there. Find ourselves a nice little spot that we can call home for the night. There's a spot right there on the corner with them big boys. But it looks like either they haven't rendered any planes in over there or it's completely empty. I'm going to squeeze in and feel like one of the big boys here. Let's see. How about... I'll leave the corner. Nah, heck with it. I'm going to take it. Okay. Here we are. Home again, jiggity jig. Let's start chucking some stuff off here. We can turn our avionics off. Turn the starter off. I probably could have done that. And oh shoot, I left the. No, I didn't. I'm okay. It was okay. It was okay. I thought I left that on. I didn't. All right, let's put that to normal. Let's go up above and cut our fuel. Turn our lights off. I think we're good for the evening. Close that up. Wow. Peace and quiet. Here we are. Cleveland, Ohio. It's getting to where the airports all kind of look alike, don't they? Except for the little ones. Some of the little ones have class. See, that's kind of weird. See the nose of the airplane and that? I thought I was right here from the look of the view that I get from the cockpit. I thought I was real close to that. But I'm not. The plane's almost clear to the back. Isn't that weird? How that is? Look, I thought I was right under that thing. Huh. Alrighty. Well, I hope you had fun. Yeah, so the next leg, we're going to go from Ohio into Pennsylvania, and I think then I'm going to start heading south. So we'll plot out a course when we come back. I hope you had fun. I hope to see you then. Ta-ta for now.